What up? Double Drivel, Dan Abbott's, aka The Sweetness.
Yo, what up? Zach, aka Z Money, aka oh fuck.
Alright, so to start this off, we're going to talk about starting lineups and how they impact the success of the four best teams in the East and the West. I'm not going to get to all teams thus far, but if you want, message me and I'll get you the stats. Basically what's happening in OKC right now, they're looking very, very bipolar, and that's because they're playing their starters. They've played over 230 minutes thus far with a positive plus-minus of 12. And if you look at the flip side of that, if you look at a team that actually has a real starting lineup, like the Memphis Grizzlies, who are the most consistent team in basketball right now, they're playing a little over 200 minutes total as well, but they are a plus-minus of a positive 55. They're playing absolute shutdown defense, only allowing 99 points per 100 possessions. And then if you really start to get into this, you can look at the teams that are utilizing more than one lineup a bunch of different times. Like teams like the Hawks that are on a 5-game winning streak as of tonight.
No big.
No big. Shout out to the home team. They have two lineups that are averaging 80 minutes and 60 minutes, and respectively, they're both playing absolute shutdown defense, allowing 92 points per 100 possessions, and their plus minus is 33 and 48.
May I also say that they're averaging 23 assists per game, which
Right.
has got to be a high in the last decade for them. They've never been passing this well. They've never been this selfless of a team. Shout out to Kyle Korver.
Yeah. So basically what this all means is that when you look at the stats of your team starting lineups, you can really start to figure out what they should do lineup-wise. If they're relying too heavily on their starting lineup, like the Clippers are, you're going to start to see them falter. You're going to start to see them lose games. They've lost 3 in a row right now. If you've got a very strong lineup like Miami Heat do with their starting 5, as we've seen thus far, they're playing their plus minus is over 50 right now for the starting lineup, playing about 155 minutes. You're gonna win more games. So if your team is struggling, look at that 82games.com. Look for that. It's very interesting stuff.
Next up, I'm going to go on a little bit of a homer rant. I want to talk about my Kings for a minute because this past week of basketball was super frustrating. The Kings played 4 games. They should have went 4-0. Instead, they went 2-2. I gotta take a minute to speak to Keith Smart. Keith, I hope you're listening, but I don't know what the hell you're doing right now. Tyreke Evans is a star waiting to break out, and you were holding this man down. Just to give you an idea, you got two legit 2 guards on your roster. You got Tyreke and Thornton. Thornton is just a ball hog. He's always looking to jack up whatever he's got. Tyreke is the complete opposite of that. He's the 4 general for this team. And look at plus minus. Over the last week, Tyreke is a plus 8. Thornton is a negative 4.5. Give Tyreke more minutes. He's only averaging 30 minutes per game this season. Over the last week, just to give you an idea what he did, averaged 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, Mad D, over 50% from the field. Play Tyreke. Also, shout out to Jimmer.
Surprise! Biggest surprise of the year thus far. The Blobcats are 7-5. Can you believe it? If the season ended today, they'd be in the playoffs. Warriors 8-6 versus the 6th strongest schedule thus far. Memphis, we talked about, they're 10-2, and Indiana 6-8 and looking awful. Roy Hibbert's offensive rating is 90. That is no good whatsoever. So those are the big surprises thus far for me, I think.
Shout out to Paul George, 9 threes the other night.
Yeah. Other than that, not playing very well.
Agreed.
Yeah. Speaking of players that aren't playing very well, Josh Howard, you look bad. Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, you got a 9.6 PER. That is no good. You are shooting under 50% true shooting and effective field goal wise.
You are destroying the field goal percentage in my fantasy team.
Yeah,
play.
Absolutely. Eric Maynor is averaging 1 assist per game in 12 to 13 minutes. He has absolutely done nothing for OKC. And Brandon Knight in
Detroit,
even though he had a good game in a huge loss to New York, you were averaging 23 turnovers per 100 possessions, and your offensive rating is 93 compared to 109 defensive rating. That is terrible. Those dudes suck.
And you're also a legit ugly man.
Yes.
Dude is not good looking.
Yeah.
Next up, just a quick shout out to what's going on in LA with Pau Gasol. Dude wants more touches. He wants more touches specifically in the post. As of the last game against the Grizz, Powell didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. He said he didn't remember the last time that happened. Instead, D'Antoni went with Jamison. The last 2 games, surprisingly, Jamison is putting up 17.5 points and 11 rebounds.
Not sustainable.
Next up, just real quick, just to give you a little bit of fantasy fun time.
Fun time with fantasy.
That's our official theme song, by the way.
Copyrighted.
All right, so earlier on in the year, I don't know if you guys remember, I gave a shout out to my boy Aaron Brooks in Sacramento. Dan panned him. He's starting, hitting threes, high field goal percentage. Pick this guy up. He's only owned in 3% of leagues. Nene came back this past week, played 2 games, averaging 15 points a game.
It's Hilario!
He's not getting a lot of rebounds or anything else, but that's going to come.
Kevin Love's back in Minnesota. Hopefully he picked him up while he was injured. But at what cost to his team? They've lost 2 games since he's been back.
True that. And Chandler Parsons, shout out to Florida. Chandler Parsons is repping real hard. They may be out of the picture in the BCS, unfortunately. But Parsons is doing his thing. Just had a career high the other night. He's not owned in all the leagues yet. Go get him.
Get him. Double Drivel, week 4. There's a bunch of information for you.
Follow us on everything, please.
Everything.
Subscribe now.